an informed decision. It is not a snap decision whether to use an agile approach or not. Just like flying or driving somewhere on a trip, projects with less rigid constraints, experienced and preferably co-located teams, smaller risks, unclear requirements, and more flexible scheduling would be more compatible with an agile approach. The following example uses Scrum roles, artifacts, and ceremonies. Scrum roles. Product owner, the person responsible for the business value of the project and for deciding what work to do and in what order. As documented in the product backlog. Scrum Master, the person who ensures that the team is productive, facilitates the daily Scrum, enables close cooperation across all roles and functions, and removes barriers that prevent the team from being effective. Scrum Team or Development Team, a cross-functional team of 5 to 9 people who organize themselves and the work to produce the desired results for each sprint, which normally lasts 2-4 weeks. Scrum Artifacts. An artifact is a useful object created by people. Scrum artifacts include product backlog, a list of features prioritized by business value. Sprint backlog, the highest priority items from the product backlog to be completed within a sprint. Burn down chart shows the cumulative work remaining in a sprint on a day-by-day basis. Scrum ceremonies. Sprint planning session, a meeting with the team to select a set of work from the product backlog to deliver during a sprint. Daily Scrum, a short meeting for the development team to share progress and challenges and plan work for the day. Sprint reviews, a meeting in which the team demonstrates to the product owner what it has completed during the sprint. Sprint retrospectives, a meeting in which the team looks for ways to improve the product and the process based on a review of the actual performance of the development team. Figure 3-5 displays how you can view the Scrum framework shown in Chapter 2 in terms of the project management process groups. Table 3-18 summarizes some of the unique Scrum activities by each process group. The following sections provide more detail on these activities. Planning. Not different from PMBOK. Registered sign guide. Still create a scope statement and can use a Gantt chart for the entire project schedule. Other planning similar, risk, etc. different. Descriptions of work are identified in the product and sprint backlogs. More detailed work documented in technical stories. Estimate of velocity or capacity for each sprint. Release roadmap often used for schedule. A Gantt chart for the entire project could still be created, as shown in Figure 3-6. Notice that the process groups do not follow a simple linear pattern. Several process groups are repeated for each sprint, resulting in several releases of a usable software product, as shown by the milestones. Recall that in the predictive version of this case, there was only one release or delivery of software near the end of the project, on October 17th. In this case, 2 additional deliveries of software are scheduled, one on August 3rd and one on September 11th. Some teams create a release roadmap, as described later in this section. For each software release, the entire project is still scheduled for completion on November 1st. Table 3-19, Product and Sprint Backlogs. Executing. Not different from PMBOK. Registered sign guide. Still produce products, led people, etc. different. Produce several releases of software. Users of the new software might be confused by getting several iterations of the product instead of just one. Communications. Different because the project team meets every morning, physically or virtually. Monitoring and controlling. Not different from PMBOK. Registered sign guide. Still check actual work versus planned work. Different. Names of key reviews are the daily Scrum and the sprint review. A sprint board is used instead of a tracking Gantt chart or other tools. Use a burn down chart versus earned value chart. The burn down chart in Figure 3-7 shows progress during the first sprint for the JWD Consulting Intranet project. Closing. Not different from PMBOK. Registered sign guide focus is still on acceptance of deliverables and reflection. Different. The retrospective is similar to a lessons learned report, but it focuses on a shorter period of time. It is intended to answer 2 fundamental questions. What went well during the last sprint that we should continue doing? What could we do differently to improve the product or process? Templates. Table 3-20 lists the templates available on the companion website and the author's site at www.pmtexts.com or www.kathyschwalb.com. Chapter Summary. The 5 project management process groups are initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling. In closing, you can map the main activities of each process group to the 9 knowledge areas. Some organizations develop their own information technology project management methodologies. The JWD Consulting case study provides an example of using the process groups and shows several important project documents. The second version of the same case study illustrates differences using Agile, Scrum. The biggest difference is providing 3 releases of usable software versus just 1.